In this video, we're going to make sense of matter. So we're going to find out what matter is and then learn how we classify matter into different components to make sense of them. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. So everything that you can see would be matter, and even some things that you can't see would be matter. So air is matter because it's made up of different gases, carbon dioxide, nitrogen gas, oxygen. Even though we can't see those gases, they do have mass and they are taking up space. So everything's matter. Even you are matter. You matter. The particle theory of matter helps explain what matter is and how it behaves. So the first part of the particle theory of matter is that all matter is made up of tiny particles. And these particles are known as atoms and molecules. We'll learn more about that later in our unit. But you can see here, we have 3 cylinders. And the first cylinder, this would be a representation of a solid. So the particles are really tightly packed together. This one would be a liquid, so the particles are a little bit further apart, and then a gaseous form, and the particles are really spread far apart. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. The second point of the particle theory of matter is that all the particles of one substance are the same, and that different substances are made of different particles. So in this example, we have some water molecules. So those are the particles that make up water. And they're made of 1 oxygen and 2 hydrogens. So you may know that the formula for water is H2O, and that's because there's 1 oxygen and 2 hydrogen atoms. Chlorine is another substance, and it's made of 2 chlorine atoms joined together, so chlorine gas. The third point in the particle theory of matter is that the particles are always in motion, so they're always moving. And the more energy the particles have, the faster they move. So if you increase the heat, the particles will start moving faster because they have more energy. So they'll be zipping around all over the place and then possibly bumping into each other and causing reactions. We'll talk more about that a little bit later as well. So the particles are always in motion. The fourth point is that there are attractive forces between the particles. So these forces are stronger when the particles are closer together. And that's why in that first point, the representation of a solid showed that those particles were really tightly packed together, and then with the liquid they're a little bit further apart, and then with the gas really far apart. So again, you can see that these particles are all attracting one another, so they're trying to pull each other together. So matter is broken down into different categories. So first of all, matter can be either a pure substance or a mixture. And then pure substances could be either elements or compounds. And mixtures can either be mechanical mixtures or solutions. So with a pure substance, those substances are made of only 1 ingredient. So if it was water, it would be just H2O. The types of pure substances are elements and compounds. We'll talk more about those shortly. So some examples of pure substances would be aluminum foil or water. So those are pure substances. They're made of only 1 ingredient. Mixtures are made up of 2 or more ingredients. And most of the items that we encounter, including ourselves, are mixtures of many different types of particles. So for an example, milk that we like to drink, it's made up of a lot of different things. So water, and if it's not skim milk, there would be fat particles, there would be proteins, there would be sugars. Those are all different types of pure substances that are found in milk, and milk then would be a mixture. So elements are made up of only 1 type of particle or atom, and elements are listed on the periodic table of elements, which we will refer to a lot in this unit. Some examples of elements would be iron. So the symbol for iron is Fe, or hydrogen. Hydrogen is made up of only 1 type of atom. It actually has 2 of them joined together, so it's H2. Another one would be oxygen, O2, or magnesium, Mg. And we will learn how to read a periodic table and interpret what the symbols mean a little bit later. So compounds are pure substances that are made of two or more elements in a fixed ratio. So for an example, water is H2O. So every water molecule has two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom joined together. So it is a pure substance. It's made of only one ingredient, but the elements are joined together in a fixed ratio, making them only one type of molecule. Another example would be sodium chlorides, or NaCl, and that is salt that we like to sprinkle on our food to give it flavor. Solutions are when the particles mix together so that only one layer or phase can be seen. So everything blends in tightly together. They're made of multiple ingredients, but you can't see that there's multiple ingredients because they blended together. So some examples might be like Kool-Aid mixed in with water to make a grape juice solution. Grape juice, milk, you can see only one phase or layer in milk. So those are all examples of solutions. Solutions are sometimes also described as being homogeneous mixtures, but we'll just refer to them as solutions. Mechanical mixtures are also sometimes called heterogeneous mixtures. These particles don't mix evenly. So you can either see two or more phases or layers in the substance. So for an example, if you mixed oil and water, the oil and the water don't mix together evenly. So the oil floats on top and the water is below, and this would be considered a mechanical mixture. This over here, salt and pepper, if you mix both of those particles together onto a plate, the particles, you can see two different distinct parts. You can see the pepper flakes and then the salt granules. They're two very different things, and they don't mix evenly. So you see multiple layers or multiple phases.